everybody, it's Drybear. And we are exiting the summer season, towards the end of Q3, and we're working our way into fall and winter where crazy amount of releases are coming. So I wanted to summarize all the games that I have on my list that I'm looking forward to at least the next 2 months or so, that you can also be aware of as well. This includes the full release games as well as like live service games that have big patches coming along as well. If you have any games that aren't on this list that you think should be included, drop those in the comments down below because I'd love to hear what your perspective is and what games that you're excited about in the coming horizon. First up is Ready or Not, which is a game that is very controversial but super fun if you get the chance to play it, and it is launching tomorrow with a 1.0 release that includes consoles. Now they're extending out to consoles. So if you're wanting to play Ready or Not but haven't had the chance to because you only play on console games, you will be able to starting tomorrow with their big update. They're also including a hard mode plus a bunch of really cool additions to the game with this as well. So what is Ready or Not? You take the place of a SWAT officer and you're called into some of the most corrupt and messed up places, and your goal as in a tactical shooter is to work your way through the scene, protect civilians, try to protect yourself and your fellow officers. Sometimes you have to use mirror cameras to look under doors, look for traps, wait for people that are hiding away. You break down meth labs and you find out some like really crazy stuff, and it's supposed to be as realistic as it reasonably can be for a game, for the things that you find out and the locations you land on. So if you're looking for a tactical shooter that's a much slower pace and a lot more realistic with more strategy, then Ready or Not coming to console is exactly where you want to be starting tomorrow. Next up is a game called Wildgate, and one of the challenges with ship-based or space-based combat games is oftentimes they don't have ship interiors and don't focus on like the EVA, like spacewalking aspect of the game. So if you liked like the WildStar art style, but you wanted to be able to board spaceships, fight each other in spaceships, and do space combat, then Wildgate is exactly what you're looking for. They have an open beta launching on July 22nd, so just about a week from now. So you'll be able to dive in and try it out for free on Steam, so sign up for that and look out for the open beta. It's got this goofy, super fun, kind of whimsical art style, but you will be traveling through space, looting materials, boarding other people's spaceships, flying around in your own spaceship with your bubble shield, doing space combat and spacewalking and all of it together. It is a really cool concept and a premise that doesn't really get experimented on all that often. So if you're looking for this kind of game, try out for free for the open beta on July 22nd, coming very soon. Up next is Wuchang Fallen Feathers. We actually do get a pretty good steady flow of high quality, high budget, Souls-like or three-dimensional action games, and I think Wuchang Fallen Feathers definitely needs to be on your list of games to play. It looks great. It's very visually stunning. A lot of the effects and sounds and experience of the combat looks really good. They have some really cool trailers and CGs inside the game as well, and so if you're looking for a new hyper action game to play, Wuchang Fallen Feathers is coming out on July 24th and will be an easy pickup for people that like this style of game. One of the things I really like about it too is just how much they play into the atmosphere and the ambiance of it as well. It's very like, like Wuchang, like Black Myth style, where it's more about the environment and the effects and the weather and the weird enemy designs that really bring it together. So if you're looking for a new Souls-like / three-dimensional action game to play, look no further than Wuchang Fallen Feathers coming soon. I'm pretty excited about this one personally. Up next is the third installment of Killing Floor from Tripwire. This is a very fan favorite game. It's just kind of like a zombie shooter game with waves and waves and hordes of monsters with cool weapons and lots of crazy gore and effects. And they did Killing Floor 1 and Killing Floor 2. Some people liked 1, some people liked 2, and some people liked neither, but it is a very fun game to play, and this one has been heavily anticipated for quite a while, though it did get delayed several times over the last year or two. So now it finally has a release date with July 24th. They just did a playtest over the weekend as well, though unfortunately it was protected by NDA. So I can't show you in the footage of that, I can't show you in the gameplay or talk about the experience that I had with it. But in general, if you are looking for Killing Floor 3, it is finally coming out on July 24th, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that have been excited about Killing Floor 3, but just lost track of it because of all the delays that it had. So finally has a release date on July 24th. coming soon to you. So if you like that kind of crazy combat of running around smashing, you know, zombie like mutated monsters and having all kinds of weapons and just endless hordes of monsters to fight, then look no further than Killing Floor 3. Next up is Grounded 2 Early Access. So if you've never played Grounded 1, it is basically Honey, I Shrunk the Kids made into a survival game. It is exceptional. Obsidian always nails it with games like these, and I think Grounded 1 is definitely one of the best survival games you can play, and it's super fun to play. It's like this cool vibe to it. You can see on screen they have like these really cool trailers for it, but the gameplay itself is very much like the old school style, very like, I don't know, it's got that homey vibe to it. So if you ever wanted to play a survival game where you play as like a really shrunk down character, you end up fighting against all kinds of insects and bugs. The first game had jump scares with crazy terrifying wolf spiders and bugs, and they're doing it again with Grounded 2 with more ants and more spiders, bees, mosquitoes. It just has this really cool vibe to it that has the survival crafting aspect, it has the combat aspect, and you face off against really giant monsters, and everything just feels really cozy. So if you like playing survival games and co-op games, then Grounded 2 should be on your radar. This is early access and it looks like it's going to be a good one, so check it out on July 29th. I definitely will be playing, as I absolutely loved Grounded 1 for a lot of reasons that are being continued in the second game here from Obsidian. Moving into August, we have the First Descendant Season 3, which is probably their biggest release yet. I'm sure if you're on my channel watching this, you probably have played a lot of the First Descendant, but if you haven't, this game launched last year to critical acclaim, got a lot of players, and since they've been kind of doing regular updates and keeping up with it, some people I'm sure have fallen off from the game. They just kind of cleared all there was to do, or they just don't like looter shooters in general. But I think Season 3 is shaping up to be the best big new release they've had for the game. They're adding in vehicles, they're adding in new zone, new bosses, new characters, and things to check out. And the biggest part, it is free to play and on consoles as well. So if you're looking to check it out, this would be a great time to come back to the game on August 7th when they launch their brand new season, their breakthrough season, where all kinds of crazy stuff happens. We also have some upcoming ARPG releases, including on August 21st, Last Epoch Season 3 with a brand new season and a brand new mechanic, and they're actually doing some high hype trailers for this as well. So super exciting stuff coming from Last Epoch. If you ever played Last Epoch, it is definitely one of the ARPGs to check out. It is still technically an indie company, but they do an amazing job of creating a very one-of-a-kind ARPG experience, and generally if you're an ARPG player, you know that it is the best time to pick them up when a new season drops, because there's new mechanics, everyone's starting over, a bunch of new people are playing to check out the new stuff. Their last season, their Tomb of the Erased, excellent, very, very cool. Played a bunch of it myself, and I think this is going to be a really big one to shape up and try out for. So if you're looking for a new ARPG to play, check out Last Epoch Season 3, launching on August 21st. A day later, on August 22nd, we have Dying Light the Beast, and honestly, I adore Dying Light 1. Dying Light 2 wasn't really as much of in my fancy as Dying Light 1 was, but they aren't coming out with Dying Light the Beast, and this one does look good. We'll have to see what happens when it comes out, but if you are a big zombie game enjoyer, or you just like, you know, canned campaign experiences that are really high quality, then check out Dying Light the Beast. There's some really cool visuals here and some aesthetics that are coming alive, and the fact that they just generally, even in Dying Light 2, which I wasn't a huge fan of, they still kind of kept that very hardcore, high difficulty feeling. I will never forget the nighttime experiences I had in Dying Light 1. When nighttime hits with these games, it is terrifying and horrifying in so many ways. So Dying Light the Beast coming out on August 22nd, so just over a month, maybe like 5 weeks from now, that you can check out. So if you like zombie games, this is one to keep on your list. Then, as you'll see over the next couple minutes, that the end of August is absolutely positively stacked, starting with Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. So this is actually just a modern day remake of Metal Gear Solid 3. So if you missed the original Metal Gear Solid series, you know, like I think Wings of Liberty and, you know, like those kinds of games, like Metal Gear Solid 2, super fun, super awesome, and Metal Gear Solid 3 was definitely one of those. So they're basically doing like a modern day remake of 3 and creating the same kind of experience with super high quality, coming out on August 28th. So if you have been a Metal Gear Solid fan for a long time, I think you definitely want to check out the Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater for this, coming out on August 28th. Then a day later, on August 29th, we have Lost Soul Aside. So if you like, again, action role-playing games, three-dimensional action games, Souls-like games, Lost Soul aside should definitely be on your radar. It feels a little bit like Final Fantasy 16 or maybe like Black Myth style Souls-like, maybe a little bit more hype and ambiance rather than like more gritty, hardcore action. But it's got really great visuals, awesome cutscenes, really cool presentation, and the combat feels really fun as well. So I think if you liked Final Fantasy 16, you liked Black Myth Wukong, you liked those style of games that are a little bit more, you know, have that ambiance and they have the aesthetics and it feels very action movie style, then I think you'll really like Lost Soul aside. This one's PC and PS5, so if you want to check this game out, this one is coming August 29th, and it has all the makings of a really strong action role-playing game of this type that should definitely be on your radar if you like these kind of games. And as if the Season 3 for Last Epoch wasn't enough, we are also getting a new season for Path of Exile 2 in early access. This game came out last year, at the end of last year, to critical acclaim. A lot of people love the core game, but the game isn't done yet. They're still kind of working on finishing the game itself. However, they do have a major release coming at the end of August 29th. This is going to be their third season. They haven't given us too many details on exactly what the season will be, but a lot of people speculate, myself included, that it will include the new Druid class and potentially an expansion to their really awesome campaign story, like the core story of the game that you'll do through the season as well. So if you've been waiting for more content on Path of Exile 2, at the end of August, on August 29th, is a great time to get back into the game, as they will be doing what they call a major update with tons of content for it as well. Hopefully with a new class, new campaign, a bunch of new bosses and areas and maps, and a bunch of improvements to the end game as well, which they've been working on pretty hard for many, many months through most of the year. So definitely one to keep an eye on if you are a ARPG enjoyer. Moving on to September, on September 4th, we're getting Hell Is Us, and this game is a wild trip if you watch the trailers. It is kind of looks like a very serious, intense horror game, but it's actually an action-adventure combat game. It has some similar like three-dimensional action combat in the gameplay itself, so a little bit more Souls-like adjacent, but not really Souls-like. It's more of like an action-adventure game as well. You kind of play this character with this trench coat, but the vibes are really immaculate. It's very horror-like. And when you get to the actual gameplay, you pull out a weapon, you'd have these really cool moves, these picks up and down, and like I think a lot of it almost feels like it's like a Silent Hill game mixed with like a really high-quality three-dimensional action game. Like you have these really slow moments of creepy, freaky vibes, and then you jump into these like crazy high-octane action moments that you would get in a three-dimensional action game as well. So putting those two together with the high graphic quality makes Hell Is Us a very interesting game to check out, and something that you'll want to keep on your radar for September 4th. Next up is Borderlands 4, one of the most anticipated games of the year. It is a long-running franchise. However, a lot of people consider Borderlands 3 kind of a miss, especially with the story mode, and they've kind of put a lot more effort and a lot more, like, you know, very finely crafted details into Borderlands 4 that have got a lot of people excited. So if you're looking for a new looter shooter to play with the classic storytelling and the graphics and style of Borderlands, then Borderlands 4 is coming to us on September 12th. It's back and ready to play, so this is definitely one you want to pay attention to. And there are people that play that, you know, they play Borderlands all year long, just messing around with all the different build options and different ways to play. So September 12th is a date to keep in mind for Borderlands 4 coming in just a few months. Then we get a bit of a break at the end of September. Going into October 2nd is Directive 8020. If you've never played a Supermassive game before, these are interactive immersive story games where they have high fidelity and it's all about branching storylines. So you jump into the game, the story progresses, and then you have to make choices, usually in the blink of an eye. Like you have a few seconds to make a choice and have rampant consequences on who lives or dies, and that's kind of the Supermassive way. So this is the 5th installment, I believe, in the Dark Pictures Anthology series. So if you like really intense, high-fidelity, interactive story games, then Directive 8020 is coming on October 2nd, and I really highly recommend, if you've never played a Dark Pictures game before, you really want to check it out, because they are one of a kind and super fun to play, especially if you play it with others sitting on the couch on your console or something. They are very, very satisfying. On the same day, October 2nd, is Ghost of Yotei, the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, probably one of the prettiest games I have ever played. I will always remember the final boss fight of Ghost of Tsushima and how gorgeous this was. And they're doing a second game in the same line, Ghost of Yotei. And this is coming out October 2nd. They actually just did like a 20-minute gameplay deep dive into the game as well on their official channel, and I recommend you checking that out. It's super cool, and they talk about the mechanics and the extra effort they went into making the game. It's definitely one of those three-dimensional action games, but has really fun, satisfying combat, a lot of gritty visuals, and again, they do weather and atmosphere better than most games that I've played. It's just so beautiful, and a lot of the gameplay mechanics they show through the in-game weather systems, like the flower beds show you where to go and speed you up, the wind tells you where your direction is without giving you actual individual items. So they do a really good job of bringing you into the game, into the story, while still doing three-dimensional action combat, really satisfying storylines and that sort of thing. So definitely be on the lookout for Ghost of Yotei on October 2nd. Moving towards the end of October, October 21st, we have Ninja Gaiden 4. So if you're really looking for a high fidelity, but more importantly, extremely difficult game to beat, I will always remember the original Ninja Gaiden games. I literally lost, like I have permanent calluses on my fingers from the original Ninja Gaiden. It is that hard, that punishing, and I got so intense as a kid playing and forcing my thumb to play with the controller that I still have like physical alterations to my body from those games. So Ninja Gaiden 4 is the modern release version. They actually just did a Ninja Gaiden Black as well, and this one looks to be not quite as brutal, but still extremely difficult, and a lot more focus on VFX and presentation, which I think that they definitely needed in the Ninja Gaiden series. So Ninja Gaiden 4 coming on October 21st. This is definitely one of those games that if you like, one, if you like challenging games, and two, if you like action games like this one, you definitely want to keep this one on your radar for October. This one's going to be a lot of fun to play through. Next up on October 23rd, we have a blast from the past with Double Dragon Revive. So if you ever played like old school arcade or cabinet games like Streets of Rage and stuff like that, then Double Dragon should be on your radar. The original Double Dragon game was so much fun to play as a kid, and they're bringing the game back with Double Dragon Revive. This is basically a modern revival of a game that we all know and love, or at least if you're as old as I am, you remember from back in the day. But it's a revival of it. It still kind of has like the side-scrolling fighter aspects to it that we're used to, but with a lot more modern graphics. So this one is a blast from the past, or if you have someone in your life that's older than you that played these games that might enjoy it, maybe you want to sit down and play it with them, it should be a good time overall. So Double Dragon Revive coming on October 23rd. Up next is Arc Raiders, which is probably one of the more anticipated games of the year. They did a beta test, and everyone that plays shooter games rants and raves about how great it is, and it was really, really good. So this is a multiplayer extraction game with battle royale elements to it, but it has so many really cool looter aspects to it. So it's kind of like, it feels like PUBG mixed with Escape from Tarkov in really interesting ways. And if you're curious, you can actually go online and find all the footage that was captured during their beta test earlier in the year of people running around collecting loot. And honestly, the shooting mechanics felt really good. It felt really snappy and reliable. The looting was super fun. The variety of loot that you find, the extraction mechanic is really clean. The worlds are super big and open, and all the different things that you can do with your character are super fun as well. So Arc Raiders is easily one of the most anticipated games of the year. And again, if you are a shooter fan, a TPS fan, an extraction fan, or even a battle royale style fan, then Arc Raiders needs to be on your list. This one is launching on October 30th. It's possible that they do a limited stress test or beta weekend in between now and then, but definitely keep this one on your radar. And we'll cut the list here. October 29th is Outer Worlds 2. If you've never played Outer Worlds 2, not to be confused with Outer Worlds, not to be confused with Outer Wilds, two very different games. But Outer Worlds is an Obsidian game that is almost like a BioShock-like, more action-focused game. It has great story, excellent atmosphere, cool storytelling, some really cool interactions and moments in the game as well, and that's why they're doing a sequel to it. So Outer Worlds, I recommend you play the first one because the first one is fantastic, but the second one is also coming on October 29th, so in a couple months here as well. So one to keep your eye on if you like Obsidian games, so storytelling games in general, RPGs in general, but also if you like this kind of cyberpunk tech-like kind of world with really fun characters and dialogue, with some really interesting action and strategy elements as well. Outer Worlds 2 should definitely be on your radar for that as well. And I realized that I didn't put platforms for games on this list overall. I probably should have, and I'll probably do that if for the next one that we do, just for people that play on a specific platform. I apologize, but these are kind of the games, the big ticket items that I have on my list right now. Let me know down below what your big ticket items are coming for the rest of the year. I'll cut it off in October. There's definitely a lot of stuff in November and December as well, and even January, February. We have things like Resident Evil 9 in February and stuff like that. But I'll cut the list here just to make sure the video doesn't go on too long. Drop your upcoming games down below. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below. Leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people. And don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.